The observation deck of the Celestial Pearl hummed with anticipation as 300 alien dignitaries gathered for what was supposed to be the galaxy's most exclusive safari experience. Ambassador Kelros, of the Vinthani Empire, adjusted his ceremonial robes, his 4 eyes gleaming with satisfaction. This venture had cost him a small fortune, but hosting the annual Galactic Council retreat aboard a luxury starship orbiting the death world designated as Earth would cement his political legacy forever. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, his voice translating through neural implants into hundreds of languages simultaneously. "Today you will witness the deadliest ecosystem in known space from absolute safety. Our shields are impenetrable. Our scanners are military-grade. Nothing from that primitive rock below can possibly harm us." Scattered applause rippled through the crowd. Most attendees represented species who had never encountered genuine danger. Their worlds were tamed, sanitized, predictable. The concept of predation existed only in their historical archives. Dr. Vera Moss sat in the back row, arms crossed, jaw tight. The 24-year-old xenobiologist had tried everything to stop this circus. Petitions, protests, a strongly worded letter to the Interstellar Ethics Committee that went absolutely nowhere. Now she was stuck as the mandatory human observer, forced to watch wealthy aliens gawk at her homeworld like it was some kind of cosmic zoo. "This is disgusting," she muttered. The Quellan merchant beside her clicked his mandibles nervously. "You seem upset, Dr. Moss." "Upset?" Vera turned to face him, her green eyes flashing. "They're treating my planet like a freak show. Would you enjoy watching strangers ogle your birthplace while sipping champagne?" Before the merchant could respond, the main display screen flickered to life. The image showed a dense jungle canopy, every shade of green imaginable, with mist rising through the trees like ghostly fingers. The crowd leaned forward collectively. Kelros gestured dramatically. "Behold the Amazon rainforest. 2.1 million square miles of concentrated lethality. Thousands of species capable of killing a sentient being in seconds. Venomous insects, constrictor serpents, fungal infections that literally consume flesh. And we have not even discussed the apex predators yet." Vera felt her stomach turn. She had spent 3 years studying Earth's ecosystems after humanity made first contact. She understood better than anyone in this room what the planet represented. Earth was not just dangerous. It was the universe's testing ground for survival itself. Gravity 20% higher than galactic standard. Atmospheric oxygen levels that would be considered toxic on most civilized worlds. Weather patterns so violent they could erase cities in hours, and yet humans thrived there. Not just survived, but actually thrived. The screen shifted, showing a clearing near a river. Something massive moved through the underbrush. "There," Kelros said, excitement building in his voice. "The jaguar. 200 pounds of pure muscle. Bite force strong enough to pierce turtle shells and crocodilian armor. Capable of dragging prey twice its weight into trees. Silent, ruthless, perfect." The creature emerged into full view, and gasps echoed through the observation deck. It was magnificent, all sleek power and predatory grace. Its spotted coat rippled over muscles designed for explosive violence. Then someone screamed. Not the jaguar. Someone human. The camera drones adjusted their position automatically, focusing on a young woman who had stumbled into the clearing. She wore hiking boots, cargo pants, and a tank top absolutely inadequate for jungle travel. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and her face showed pure terror as she locked eyes with the predator. "Oh no," Vera whispered, already rising from her seat. "Pull her out. Transport her immediately." Kelros waved dismissively. "The protocols are clear. We observe only. No interference with natural planetary events." "That is not a natural planetary event, you idiot. That is a person about to die." The ambassador's expression hardened. "Sit down, Dr. Moss. This is precisely why humans are not permitted full council membership. You are too emotional, too irrational. Watch and learn what real nature looks like." Vera wanted to punch him. Instead, she activated her personal comm, trying to route an emergency transport request through the ship's systems. Denied. Override codes blocked. Kelros had locked down everything to prevent exactly this kind of intervention. On screen, the girl froze. The jaguar lowered into a hunting crouch. "Fascinating," someone whispered. "The prey response is identical across species." Vera felt bile rise in her throat. These people were analyzing this like a documentary. None of them understood what they were watching. None of them had grown up on Earth, where death was not an abstract concept of a daily possibility that shaped every choice, every action, every moment. The girl's name was Maya Chen, though Vera would not learn that until much later. 22 years old, graduate student studying medicinal plants. She had been documenting rare orchids when her guide had abandoned her after spotting jaguar tracks. He had taken the satellite phone, the emergency beacon. Everything except the knife on her belt and the knowledge she had gained from growing up in rural Alaska. Maya knew she was going to die. The statistics were brutally clear. Jaguars succeeded in roughly 70% of their hunts. Once they committed to an attack, escape was nearly impossible. Running would trigger the chase instinct. Climbing was pointless since jaguars were better climbers than humans. Playing dead might work with some predators, but not this one. So Maya did something completely insane. She charged. The observation deck erupted in chaos. Aliens shouted in dozens of languages, some demanding the feed be cut, others transfixed by the spectacle. Vera stopped breathing tirely. The jaguar hesitated, just for a microsecond. Its instincts screamed that prey did not behave this way. Prey ran. Prey hid. Prey submitted. Maya screamed as she closed the distance, a raw primal sound that carried generations of human fury. She was not some helpless victim. She was the descendant of creatures who had fought saber-toothed cats with sharpened sticks, who had crossed ice ages and conquered continents, who had looked at the most hostile planet in the galaxy and declared it home. The jaguar lunged. Maya dropped and rolled, the massive paws sailing over her head by inches. She came up with her knife drawn, a fixed blade with a 4-inch steel edge. Not much against 200 pounds of apex predator, but it was something impossible. Kelros breathed. She should be dead already. Vera found herself leaning against the viewing screen, heart hammering. "Come on," she whispered. "Come on." The jaguar circled, yellow eyes fixed on this strange prey that refused to behave correctly. It feinted left, testing. Maya pivoted smoothly, keeping the knife between them. Her hands were steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. Then the big cat committed. It came in low and fast, going for Maya's leg to cripple her before delivering the killing bite. Maya twisted, bringing her boot down hard on the jaguar's exposed paw. Bones crunched audibly. The predator yowled, jerking back, and Maya pressed her advantage. She drove forward, knife extended, aiming for the throat. The jaguar swatted the blade aside with reflexes honed by millions of years of evolution. The weapon went spinning into the underbrush. Maya kept moving, her fist connected with the cat's nose, a targeted strike that made it reel backward. Before it could recover, she grabbed a fallen branch, thick as her forearm, and swung it like a club. The wood connected with the side of the jaguar's head with a meaty thunk. The creature staggered. Maya hit it again and again. Years of chopping firewood in Alaska had given her arms like iron. The jaguar tried to retreat, confused and hurting. But Maya had descended into that peculiar human state where logic gives way to pure survival instinct. She dropped the branch and threw herself onto the cat's back. "No," Vera said aloud. "No, no, no." But Maya was beyond hearing. She wrapped her legs around the jaguar's torso, one arm circling its throat in a chokehold copied from mixed martial arts training she had done in college. The predator thrashed violently, slamming her against trees, trying desperately to dislodge this impossible prey-turned-hunter. Maya held on. The observation deck had gone completely silent. 300 beings from 100 worlds watched a human girl wrestle an apex predator barehanded while covered in mud, blood, and determination. The jaguar's movements became sluggish. Oxygen deprivation was shutting down its nervous system. It made one final desperate lunge, trying to roll and crush Maya beneath its weight. She shifted her grip, redirecting the momentum, and they tumbled into the river with a massive splash. Underwater, everything became chaos. Maya's lungs burned. The jaguar kicked and clawed, catching her ribs with strikes that would leave massive bruises. But she did not let go. Could not let go. This was beyond fighting now. This was proving something to herself, to the universe, to whatever was watching from that ship in orbit. Humans did not surrender. They surfaced together, both gasping. The jaguar's movements were weak now, barely coordinated. Maya tightened her grip one last time, pouring everything she had left into that chokehold. The predator went limp, Maya held on for 10 more seconds, making absolutely certain, before releasing her grip and dragging the unconscious animal toward the riverbank. She collapsed on the muddy shore beside it, chest heaving, body shaking with exhaustion and shock. The jaguar's flanks rose and fell. Still breathing. Alive, Maya had won without killing. Vera felt tears streaming down her face, though she could not say exactly why. Relief, pride, horror at what she had just witnessed. All of it mixing together into something overwhelming. Kelros stared at the screen, his 4 eyes wide with incomprehension. That is not possible. The statistical probability of a lone human surviving such an encounter is 0.003%. You forgot one variable, Vera said quietly. Humans do not care about your statistics. The camera drones maintained their focus as Maya slowly sat up, checking herself for injuries. Scratches covered her arms, blood seeped from a gash on her forehead. Her ribs screamed with every breath. But it was alive. She looked directly at the nearest camera drone, as if she could see through it to the ship in orbit, to the aliens watching her like some kind of specimen. Her expression was not triumphant, not proud, just exhausted and utterly done with everything. "Hey," she said, voice raw from screaming. "I know you are up there. Whoever you are, whatever you are, if you are going to watch humans fight for our lives, at least have the decency to send a medkit." The observation deck erupted. Delegates shouted at each other. Security personnel rushed toward Kelros. The Galactic Council representative present activated emergency protocols. Vera ignored all of it. She was already running toward the transport bay, determination etched on every feature. They wanted to observe Earth. Fine, but they were going to learn what humanity really meant, whether they liked it or not. Because Maya Chen had just done something that would ripple across the galaxy for generations. She had shown 300 civilized, sanitized, predator-free species exactly what a death world produced, and they were absolutely terrified. The transport shuttle touched down in the clearing 42 minutes after Maya's impossible victory. By then she had fashioned a crude splint for the jaguar's broken paw using vines and straight branches, dragged the still unconscious predator into the shade, and was attempting to treat her own wounds with limited success. Vera emerged from the shuttle before it fully settled, medical kit in hand, flanked by 2 security drones that Ambassador Kelros had insisted accompany her. The xenobiologist took one look at Maya, covered in mud and blood but calmly applying pressure to a deep scratch on her arm, and felt her professional composure crack completely. "You wrestled a jaguar," Vera said flatly. Maya glanced up, exhaustion evident in every line of her face. "It seemed like a good idea at the time. That is the most human sentence I have ever heard." Despite everything, Maya laughed. It came out slightly hysterical but genuine. "Are you human too? Your accent is strange, born on Europa Station," Vera explained, kneeling beside her and opening the medical kit. "But my parents were from Earth. Brazil, actually." "Hold still." The regenerative gel hissed as it contacted Maya's wounds, knitting tissue at an accelerated rate. Maya hissed through her teeth but did not pull away. Tough as nails, Vera thought. Exactly the kind of pain Earth produced. "So what happens now?" Maya asked. "Do I get arrested for assault on an endangered species or something?" Vera paused, meeting her eyes. "You do understand that over 300 alien dignitaries just watched you defeat an apex predator in unarmed combat, right? I had a knife, initially. You lost the knife 30 seconds in." Maya shrugged, wincing as the movement pulled at her healing ribs. "Details. Is the cat going to be okay?" The concern in her voice was absolutely genuine, and Vera felt something shift in her chest. This girl had just fought for her life against one of Earth's most efficient killers, and her first question was about the predator's well-being. That was humanity in a nutshell. Dangerous when threatened, but never cruel. "The jaguar will be fine," Vera assured her. "Broken paw, some bruising, probably a killer headache. Nothing permanent. You did not go for lethal strikes. Did not need to. Just needed it to stop trying to eat me." A shadow fell across them both. Vera looked up to see Ambassador Kelros approaching, flanked by a dozen council security personnel in full armor. His expression was unreadable. "Miss Chen," he said formally, "I am Ambassador Kelros of the Vinthani Empire. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I must apologize for the grave oversight that placed you in danger." Maya stared at him. "You put me in danger? I thought the jungle did that." Kelros's translator struggled with her sarcasm for a moment. Our safari expedition was operating in this region. We should have detected your presence and transported you to safety before the encounter occurred. Safari expedition, Maya repeated slowly. You were watching. The silence that followed was damning. Maya stood, swaying slightly, and Vera quickly moved to support her. The younger woman's eyes had gone hard, all traces of exhaustion replaced by cold fury. You watched me almost die for entertainment. It was not entertainment, Keliros protested. It was observation, scientific study of Earth's ecosystem from a safe distance. We never intended for a human to be placed at risk, but you did not stop it either, did you? Maya's voice could have cut steel. You just watched, like I was some kind of nature documentary. Vera felt pride surge through her. This girl understood exactly what had happened, and she was not going to let it slide. Talros shifted uncomfortably. The protocols prohibit interference with natural planetary events. I am not a natural planetary event. I am a person. Yes, quite. The ambassador glanced at his security detail nervously, which is why the council has authorized full medical treatment, transportation to any destination you choose, and substantial financial compensation for your ordeal. Maya's laugh was sharp and humorless. You think you can buy me off? Make this go away with some credits and a shuttle ride? Miss Chen, please be reasonable. Reasonable? Maya took a step forward, and every security officer tensed. She noticed and smiled without humor. Interesting. I am unarmed, injured, and half your height, but you are afraid of me. Good. You should be. Vera watched the dynamics shift in real time. The aliens had spent the past hour witnessing what humans were capable of when pushed to their limits. Maya was not making threats. She was simply existing, and that was apparently terrifying enough. What do you want? Kelros asked quietly. Maya considered the question seriously. I want you to shut down your safari. Permanently. Earth is not a zoo. Humans are not specimens. If you want to study our planet, you do it ethically. With permission. With respect. That decision is beyond my authority. Then find someone with authority. Maya's tone left no room for argument. Because if this happens again, if I find out you people are still treating my world like some kind of death world theme park, I will make sure every human in the galaxy knows about it. And trust me, Ambassador, you do not want billions of angry humans deciding you need to be taught some manners. The threat was clear. Humanity had only been part of the galactic community for 5 years, but their reputation had already spread. Aggressive, unpredictable, capable of extreme violence when provoked. Most species found it easier to accommodate them than challenge them. Kelros's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme stress in his species. I will convey your demands to the council immediately. You do that. Maya turned to Vera. Can you get me home? Actual home, not some fancy alien hotel? Absolutely, Vera said, unable to keep the admiration from her voice. Where to? Fairbanks, Alaska. I have a dog who is probably wondering where I am. As they walked toward the shuttle, leaving Kelros and his security team standing awkwardly in the clearing, Maya glanced back at the unconscious jaguar one last time. Will someone make sure it gets proper care? She asked. Vera nodded. I will handle it personally. That cat is going to wake up very confused, but otherwise healthy. Good. Maya climbed into the shuttle and immediately collapsed into the nearest seat. I need a shower and about 12 hours of sleep, and maybe therapy. The shuttle lifted off smoothly, leaving the Amazon far below. Vera settled into the pilot's seat and programmed the coordinates for Alaska. You know this is going to be all over the galactic net within hours, she said. Human defeats apex predator in unarmed combat. You are going to be famous. Maya groaned. Fantastic. Just what I always wanted. But as the Earth rotated beneath them, beautiful and deadly and utterly unique, Vera saw Maya's expression soften. This was her world. Dangerous, unforgiving, magnificent. The kind of place that forged people capable of impossible things. 3 days later, the Galactic Council issued an official decree. All safari operations near inhabited worlds were suspended indefinitely pending ethical review. Ambassador Kelros was recalled to his homeworld in disgrace, and humanity received a formal invitation to join the Council's inner circle, the first species to achieve that status in under a decade of contact. Maya turned down 17 interview requests, 3 book deals, and 1 marriage proposal from an enthusiastic Quellan merchant who was apparently very impressed by her fighting skills. She went back to studying medicinal plants, though now she carried better emergency equipment and never traveled alone. The Jaguar made a full recovery and was released back into the wild with a subcutaneous tracker that would alert authorities if it came near humans again. It never did. Some Earth scientists theorized the encounter had taught it that humans were not prey. Others suggested it simply found easier meals elsewhere. Vera liked to think the predator had learned the same lesson the aliens did. Humans were not to be underestimated. 6 months after the incident, Vera received a message from Maya, short and to the point, just like the girl herself. Found a new orchid species. Thinking of naming it after you. Want to come check it out? Fair warning, the jungle is still dangerous. Vera smiled and booked the next shuttle to Earth. Because that was the thing about death worlds. They were dangerous, unpredictable, absolutely terrifying to most galactic citizens. But they were also, and humans like Maya Chen had proven beyond any doubt that they belonged there, had earned their place through millennia of surviving the unsurvivable. The galaxy was learning a new lesson, one that would reshape interstellar politics for generations. Earth was not a zoo to be observed from orbit. It was a crucible that had forged the most adaptable, resilient, and downright stubborn species the universe had ever encountered. And those humans were just getting started. In the observation deck of the Celestial Pearl, now converted into a proper scientific research station operating with full human oversight and ethical protocols, a new display played on repeat. Not footage of the Jaguar fight, though that had been archived for xenobiology courses across 100 worlds. This display showed something simpler. Maya Chen sitting on her porch in Alaska, throwing a ball for her dog while Aurora Borealis danced overhead. Peaceful. Ordinary. Human. The caption beneath read, "Death World Inhabitant in Natural Habitat. Approach with respect." It was the most watched educational video in galactic history. And somewhere in the Amazon, a jaguar with a healed paw and a very healthy respect for bipedal apes prowled through the jungle. Apex predator once more. It had learned something that day by the river, something that would pass into the instinctive knowledge of its species. Humans were different, and that difference made all the difference in the universe. Maya never wrestled another predator. She did not need to. She had already proven what mattered, that courage was not the absence of fear, but action despite it. That strength came not from size or claws, but from refusing to give up even when logic said you should. That humanity, for all its flaws and chaos and unpredictability, was something the galaxy had never seen before. Something dangerous, something magnificent, something worth respecting. And as Earth continued spinning through the cosmos, beautiful and deadly and utterly unique, its children carried that lesson forward, not with arrogance, but with quiet determination. They were Death Worlders, survivors, the descendants of creatures who had looked at the most hostile environment in known space and called it home. The galaxy would never make the mistake of underestimating them again.